If you're planning to buy or sell real estate in Prescott or anywhere else in the U.S. in 2026, stop. There's a brand new federal rule that could impact your closing, cost you time, and add unexpected paperwork or even delay your transaction if you're not prepared. So let's see what this is all about. If you're planning to use an LLC, trust, cash purchase, or non-traditional financing in your transaction, you definitely need to watch this entire video.
Hi everyone, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Jessica.
And this new rule isn't about interest rates or local market trends. This is a federal reporting requirement from FINCEN, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network that many buyers, sellers, and investors still don't understand. So what is this new FINCEN rule? Do you have to file something? Will it slow down escrow? Today we'll explain the ins and outs. FINCEN is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, a division of the U.S. Treasury focused on tracking and combating illicit financial activity, including money laundering through real estate, banking, and corporate ownership. The rule was proclaimed by FINCEN, a bureau in the Treasury Department that enforces anti-money laundering laws. It builds on congressional anti-money laundering authority laws and was finalized under the Biden administration's regulatory process. It was postponed to an effective date of March 1st, 2026 to give industry participants time to prepare.
The goal of the FINCEN rules is to increase transparency in certain real estate transactions so that anonymous buyers and hidden owners can't exploit the system to launder money or hide assets. Essentially, the government wants to know who really owns major property deals. Starting March 1st, 2026, FINCEN's new residential real estate reporting rule will require additional reporting to federal authorities for certain types of property transfers, even if those transactions do not involve a bank mortgage. This means that if the buyer isn't financing the property with a bank or credit union, for example, if they're paying cash, using private loan, or buying through an entity like an LLC or a trust, the transfer may need to be reported to FINCEN within 30 to 60 days after closing. Let's go over some important points.
Point number one, when does this rule apply? The rule applies to non-finance transfers of residential real estate commonly seen in all cash purchases, transfers with private financing, and purchases by legal entities like LLCs, corporations, or trusts. These are exactly the kinds of deals many investors and relocation buyers use to structure real estate ownership. The rule does not apply when a traditional mortgage is used because banks already have anti-money laundering reporting obligations.
Point number two, what gets reported? Under this rule, a report must be submitted, usually by the title company or closing agent, containing property address and transfer details, who the buyer is, whether it's an individual or entity, beneficial ownership info for the buyer if an entity or trust is involved, purchase price, and payment method. Beneficial ownership info typically means the name, date of birth, address, taxpayer ID, and sometimes identification documentation of individuals who own or control the entity buying the property.
Point number three, who collects and files the reports? In most cases, it's not the buyer directly who files with FINCEN. Instead, professionals involved in the real estate settlement like title companies, settlement agents, closing attorneys, or escrow officers are responsible for submitting a report after gathering the required information from the parties involved. Buyers and sellers may need to provide that information as part of closing documentation.
Point number four, what will buyers need to prepare? If you're buying a property in 2026, and especially if you're paying cash or using an LLC or a trust, start preparing now. Expect to provide trust or entity documents, names, addresses, and tax IDs of beneficial owners, and a written certificate that the ownership info is accurate. This extra paperwork beyond a typical closing, and your title or escrow team will ask for it well before closing to meet the 30 to 60 day reporting deadlines.
Point number five, what should sellers know? Sellers may also be impacted because the reporting party has to confirm details about both sides of the transaction. If a buyer is using an entity or trust to purchase your property, that information becomes part of the report. Sellers need to be ready for additional disclosures and ensure the title company has everything it needs before closing.
Point number six, why does this rule exist? This new reporting requirement grew out of an anti-money laundering effort. similar to the Corporate Transparency Act initiative that once required beneficial ownership reporting for U.S. domestic companies, which was modified in 2025. The federal government has been expanding transparency requirements to help combat illicit finance, particularly in all cash purchases where traditional bank reporting isn't triggered.
Point number 7, let's go over some common misunderstandings. Here are a few things buyers and sellers often get wrong. They assume only high-value luxury sales get reported. Not true. They think filing is optional. It's required if the transaction meets criteria. They believe only large companies are affected, but the truth is, individuals using entities or trusts are just as impacted. Getting this wrong can even delay closings or even trigger penalties if not handled correctly.
Point number 8, here are some tips to stay compliant. To prepare for the March 1st, 2026 effective date, talk with your title company early, provide required information promptly, understand your ownership structure, and work with experienced agents and attorneys. With the right preparation, this new rule doesn't have to be confusing, but ignoring it can cost you time, money, and potentially delay your transaction.
If you're buying, selling, investing, or relocating to the Prescott area and want to make sure you're fully prepared for the new FINCEN real estate reporting requirements, visit the FINCEN website at www.fincen.gov for more information. And as always, thanks for watching. And if you're interested in knowing more about the Prescott area, be sure to tune in regularly to our YouTube channel. We post videos every week. And don't forget, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. It would be great if you could help us get there. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.